Today, Bart received a death threat written in blood, saying someone was out to kill him. This really scared the life out of Bart. Even the itchy and scratchy cartoons that he usually loves weren't enough to distract him. Just then, Homer got a letter too. Another threat. Luckily, it was addressed to Bart, but all these bloody letters really worried the family. Bart is usually just a little prankster, so who could possibly hate him this much? It made no sense. Now, Bart is so paranoid that even when Marge holds a pair of scissors, he thinks she's out to get him. When he sees Ned trimming the garden, he even feels threatened by the gloves. You can't blame him for being scared. Compared to a visible enemy, an invisible one is way scarier. Now, Bart is just hiding out in his room. Suddenly, Lisa has an idea. Could it be the guy Bart always pranks? Maybe he's back for revenge. So Lisa gives him a call and says, "I know you're the one behind this. Give it up, pal. The police have you surrounded." He's so shocked that Lisa caught him that he runs into his secret room and quickly lets out a smuggled panda. Seems like it wasn't him after all. A confused Bart wonders, who's out to get me? Who is it? It's Bart's arch-nemesis, Sideshow Bob, of course. Bart was the one who sent him to prison. Right now, Bob is still busy writing those threat letters. But wait, with all that writing, isn't Bob going to run out of blood anyway soon? It's time for Sideshow Bob's parole hearing. Most of it goes fine, but the big issue is that Bob once tried to kill Selma. The smooth-talking lawyer asks the room, who here hasn't wanted to kill Selma at some point? And believe it or not, some people actually raised their hands. Even her sister, Patty, joined in this legal mess of a town. Sideshow Bob is a free man again. At the movies, Bob is smoking and blocking everyone's view. And wouldn't you know it, the Simpsons are right behind him. When Bob looks back, it gives Bart and Lisa quite a shock. Marge recognizes him and warns him to stay away from Bart. But with Bob so full of rage, he's not going anywhere. In his tiny apartment, Bob keeps working out with Die Bart Die tattooed all over him. Homer has no choice but to find a pro to deal with Bob. Then late one night, the family has to join the Witness Protection Program. Since it's an official government agency, they can legally change their names to keep them safe. Now, the plan is to become the Thompsons and move away. That way, Bob can't threaten the Simpsons anymore. I mean, the Thompsons, they really thought of everything, even getting them a new car. On the road, the family is all smiles, not knowing Bob is clinging to the bottom of the car. I should mention, the part where he hangs under the car is a nod to the movie Cape Fear. This episode has tons of nods, which we'll get into later. Anyway, since they're the Thompsons now, the show even made a special Thompson intro just for this. That's pretty impressive. The family finally arrives, and after that rough ride, Bob can finally crawl out. That journey must have been a nightmare. One day, Bart was out, walking around, and spots Bob under a car again. Honestly, is hiding under cars a hobby for him, or just a cheap way to travel? Even though Bob didn't actually do anything, it's still terrifying. Like saying, you can't escape. Back home, Bart tells everyone that Bob is still after him. Meanwhile, fast asleep, his door creaks open and a knife slides in. But wait, it's just Homer bringing him a snack. Bart finally breathes a sigh of relief. Bart tells him, maybe don't come in waving a knife next time, okay? My heart can barely take it. Now, can Bart finally get some rest? It's pretty clear Homer was doing that on purpose. When you feel like danger is closing in, it usually is. While the family is tucked in for the night, Bob finally shows his face. This time, the person at the door really is Sideshow Bob. Now, no matter how much Bart screams for help, nobody is coming. His family has already been dealt with, just as Bob swings his knife at Bart. The kid leaps right out the window. He tries to escape the yacht, but Bob already cut the lines. Now, he's got crocodiles in front of him and electric eels behind him. Bart is truly cornered. If Bob wanted to, he could end it right now. Then Bart spots a sign on the shore, 15 kilometers to Springfield. He thinks fast and acts totally calm. Bob is confused that Bart isn't terrified, and it catches him off guard. Bart tells Bob he's a man of many talents, with a beautiful voice, and asks to hear him sing HMS Pinafore one last time. Flattered and figuring Bart is no threat anyway, Bob decides to grant this final request. So Bob actually starts performing the whole show for him. Now, HMS Pinafore is a pretty famous comic opera. To put it simply, the story is a bit like Titanic, a rich girl falling for a poor guy, specifically the captain's daughter and a sailor. But this play was around 30 years before they even built the Titanic. Anyway, back to the boat. After Bart tricked him into performing the whole thing, the show is over, and so is Bart's time on this earth. But suddenly, the yacht hits the shore and the local police actually do their jobs for once. They show up in their pajamas and arrest Bob. Like I said, this episode is full of tributes to the thriller Cape Fear, which some call the cultured villain. It's true, an educated villain is the scariest kind. Why? Well, in the movie, the main guy Max was sent to prison. His lawyer hid some evidence, which ended up tacking an extra 14 years onto his sentence. To get his revenge, Max studied everything he could. Bob's workout scene is a direct nod to this. In the movie, the villain poisons the family dog and goes after the lawyer's daughter. The lawyer hires a private investigator to find dirt on Max. Homer hiring a pro is a nod to that scene. Later, the lawyer tries to lose Max by driving out of the city. When he gets where he's going, Max crawls out from under the car. This doesn't just happen. Here, it was also in Treehouse of Horror 4 and 5. This episode is just packed with references. If you're a fan of thrillers, I'd definitely recommend watching it. Now, about this episode being banned in Germany. It was actually banned there back in 1993. That's because, at the very beginning, there's a scene on TV where an officer, McBain, is on stage. He's wearing a specific armband. German law is very strict about those symbols, and they don't allow them unless it's for history or education. Speaking of that, I remember a news story from a few years ago about 2 tourists who went to Germany and got arrested by the police for doing that salute. Now when you see Bob working out, those tattoos about Bart are pretty easy to get, but the tattoos on his knuckles probably left a few people confused. They don't really spell anything right. Well, it's actually a tribute to the thriller Night of the Hunter. The knuckle tattoos are a reference to the main character, who had love on one hand and hate on the other. Pretty edgy, right? When the family moved and Bob tracked them down, the motel he stayed at is a direct nod to Psycho. The Simpsons love referencing that movie. Now, some sharp-eyed viewers might have noticed the British flag looks a bit off. I actually wondered about that too, and looked up the history of the Union Jack, but I couldn't find a version that looked like that. Was it just a drawing error? Even though it's called Cape Fear, it's really just a thriller. Next, let's chat about the other horror movies this episode references. The most obvious one is definitely Friday the 13th. And remember Ned trimming the garden in those gloves? That's a nod to A Nightmare on Elm Street. Both are total classics. If you're brave enough, give them a watch. I'm not scared at all. Don't ask why I'm hiding under the bed though. Anyway, since I did such a deep dive, please do me a huge favor and give this a like and a follow. It really helps out a small creator like me. That's it for today. I'll see you in the next one.